So welcome everyone to the first event that we have. It's the first training event that we have in our new program. It's a project called EuroCC. And EuroCC is basically a European project, a large European project as part of the EuroHPC initiative. The EuroHPC initiative is basically a joint undertaking between the European Union and member countries of the European Union. So there's, I believe there's 33 countries. And both the countries and the European Union, they provide funds for various projects of EuroHPC to take place. The funds that each of them give, both the countries as individuals and the European Union as the other half of, let's say, two, it's 50-50. So half of the money is given by the European Union, the other half by the member countries taking part in each of the projects of EuroHPC. So EuroHPC, one of the projects, well, it has a number of projects, but one of the major projects that it has is to purchase new supercomputing systems for Europe. Tenders were given out last year, and I believe it's 5 petascale systems have been purchased. These will be located in Portugal, Slovenia, Luxembourg, Czech Republic, and one more place that I can't recall. And 3 pre-exascale systems will be bought also, and these will be located in Spain, in Finland, and in Italy. Now, pre-exascale systems refers to systems that have power of 200 petaflops and over, or close to 200 petaflops and over. And petascale systems, well, the petascale systems that have been bought are systems that are about 20 to 50 petascale systems, which have a performance of 20 to 50 petaflops. I'm sure some of you might not know what a petaflop is. This will be introduced, I hope, in the introduction to high performance computing lecture that will follow soon.
Serious? We see still your first introduction, I mean your title.
Yeah, still an introduction. So that's just an overview of what EuroHPC is. One of the other projects that EuroHPC does is the EuroCC project. Now the EuroCC project means the goal of EuroCC is to form a network of competence centers of high performance computing competence centers throughout Europe. So there's 33 countries that are involved in the project called EuroCC, and each of them has a high performance computing center that will act as a competence center, as the national competence center for that country. Now, CaSToRC is one of the 4 research centers of the Cyprus Institute, and it has been designated by the Cyprus government to act as the competence center for high performance computing in Cyprus. Now, the goal of CaSToRC and of the competence center is to carry out research in computational sciences, to deliver an educational program in simulation and data science and computational science, and to provide training, advanced user support to academia and industry in Cyprus, and also to the region as well, and to provide access to computational resources. Now, the academic program of CaSToRC includes a master program, a PhD program, and a European joint doctorate program, which is a European project called Stimulate. And all these three academic programs, they provide an academic education in various computational sciences. it's a core in computational science and specialization in a specific field of computational science, whether that is computational physics, computational biology, or climate modeling, or computational chemistry, computational engineering. I will point out later that we have a seminar series as part of the EuroCC project that occurs, well, twice each month, at least twice each month, and we invite various speakers from various computational backgrounds to present their research. So I'll tell you a bit more about that later. So the research that is carried out in CaSToRC is of computational nature. So it's research that requires high performance computing or computational modeling to carry out research. As the name implies, it's a simulation. So it's a simulation of the real world. And based on these simulations, we can find out new knowledge in various fields, whether that is in climate science or computational physics or computational engineering. Other fields that CaSToRC carries out research in is quantum computing, which I'll talk about a bit. I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. Data science, which is using huge amounts of data in a specific field to gain knowledge out of it. Quantum computing is when you use the basics of fundamentals of quantum mechanics to create supercomputers that are based on quantum computing. And these have the potential to, in my view, change our civilization when they're out, because they will provide us with huge amounts of computational power, which will allow us to solve problems that now, even in the most powerful supercomputers, they require years to take place to find a solution, or are not solvable. Now, CaSToRC carries out research in these fields, but it's always open to collaboration opportunities with other research groups, academic research groups, with industry, and with government organizations. As I said earlier, one of the aspects of the Competence Center is to provide access to resources, computational resources. And there's a number of ways in which people can access resources, which I will talk about in my talk later on, which begins at 1:30. But one of the systems that we provide access on is the national HPC system, which is called Cyclone. It's accessible via CaSToRC, and it is hosted by the High Performance Computing Facility of the Cyprus Institute. It's a hybrid system, meaning that it has both CPUs. CPUs are what we have on our laptops, on our desktops, and it also has GPUs. So GPUs are what we have, well, on good laptops, on very good laptops, on gaming laptops, and which are present in game stations such as PlayStation and so on. So this is a hybrid system because there are, it's basically the system is a computer, is a collection of computers, let's say. And there's 17 computers which are only CPUs, which have only CPUs. And there's 16 which have both CPUs and GPUs. But it's not a regular computer. So each of these 33 computers are not regular computers. They're specialized, and they're much more powerful than what we can buy out in the market. There's other systems that people can possibly get access to that are hosted on the institute, but this is our main one. And I'll talk about how people can get access later on, as I said. Now, CaSToRC is involved in many projects. Our key projects are these ones. It's Stimulate, which is the doctorate program that I referred to earlier. It's Praise. Praise is a project that has been running for about 10 years, and it's basically the European high-performance computing infrastructure. So throughout these 10 years, it has been connecting supercomputing centers from various European countries, about 26 of them. All of the systems from those countries have been integrated together in a HPC system network. And PRIS has been providing access to European scientists for computational research throughout these years on these small systems, on these 26 systems, but also on 7 big systems, the biggest systems in Europe. EuroCC is the National Competence Center project that I referred to earlier. BEATS is a program project which basically seeks to build up a scientific community in the region, in the Eastern Mediterranean region. The CIMEA project is an era chair project based on computational engineering. So research will be carried out in computational engineering mostly. And NIFOS is another project which is part of the European Open Science Cloud, which aims to promote the use of open data and open research data throughout the academic community in Europe. Sorry, I need to invite people in. Sorry about this. As I said, this is a EuroCC project activity, but what the main activities of the National Competence Center are to provide training and skills development to the community. And the community both includes academia, industry, and government. So the aim of the project is to enhance the HPC competences of the computational community in Cyprus. It does this through a number of training events that we will have, and I will present later on. It engages with industry and government and academic groups to promote the use of high-performance computing in their research and their activities. And it provides access to resources, computational resources, so on Cyclone, and it also provides access to user support. And the user support may vary from basics, so how to access the system, how to compile code and so on, but also advanced user support, helping academic groups and industry to scale up and to use more resources to carry out more research, more innovation, but also to use bigger systems, because the more computational resources that a group or a company or a government organization has at its disposal, then the more simulations and the more research and more innovation it is capable of doing. There is a phrase that says, to outcompute is to outcompete, meaning the more computational resources you have available to you and you are able to use them as efficiently as possible, then the more competitive you will be in your field. So, as I said earlier, this is our first training event. It's our beginner training event. I would consider it as a prerequisite for our next event, which is our intermediate training event, which will take place in April. You can see details of this on our website about the intermediate event. So if you can please sign up to our meetup page, we can provide you the link if you don't know about this. Then you will get information on when further details of this intermediate event will be announced and when registration will open. So this is our beginner event. Obviously, we would have loved to have you here at the Institute, but we all know that we can't at the moment. So we're holding this online. Now, online events are different. So we will all do our best to be as efficient as we can, given the circumstances. It's harder for us to interact with each other because we can't see you, and we have to coordinate a number of things via Zoom. So if you have any questions, please raise your hands, and somebody will be monitoring this to inform the speaker of questions that somebody might have. Being at the office, it's harder to keep focused on what is being delivered, because somebody might come in the office, we might get a phone call, or we might see something online that we might want to read instead. So do your best to try and not get distracted. We've tried to have as many breaks throughout the days as possible, so that this will help. And again, we're going to record all of the sessions, and we'll put them online later on and link to them via the website, so people can view them later. And if you know anybody who is interested in the training that took place, you can refer to the videos later on. Now, today today is basically an introductory day. We have the next session will be by Simona. He will talk about an introduction to high performance computing. We assume that people here don't have much, so this introduction is good for you to follow. We will then have an introduction to data analysis and artificial intelligence. I will then give a talk on how to access HPC infrastructure and the various training opportunities that we have in the Competence Center and in Europe. And then Simona will again talk about the basics of parallel programming and performance optimization. Tomorrow will be a hands-on day where the head of high performance computing will give you an overview on the basics of Linux, how to use the Linux operating system, how to connect to the high performance computing system, how to submit jobs, and the various environments in the system. So tomorrow will be between 10 and 3. But please note that we have a seminar tomorrow by Dr. Mario Zaharia, and he will talk on his research, and it's titled Special Displacement Method for the Calculation of Materials Properties at Finite Temperatures. That will be between 4 and 5. If you want to join this, you can. Please note that the link for this, the Zoom link for this is different, and you can find this on the CaSToRC website. Or please send me a message. I'll actually text it in the chat later on. And on the third day would be, we have 3 sessions, and they will be carried out by Jakob, and Simona as well will help him. And this will mainly focus on a brief introduction to parallel computing with a special focus on OpenMP. So OpenMP is basically a parallel programming paradigm where most of the parallelization occurs within one computer, within one computational node. And then in the next training event that we will have, in the intermediate training event, we will enhance this parallel programming training through training in MPI and hybrid programming, where we combine MPI and OpenMP for programming our code. So thank you for your attention. Does anybody have any questions concerning the training event? No. Okay.